but this is going to be an initial introduction where I'm going to kind of cover all the bases, how to integrate Stripe into your application so that you can have something that looks clean, works amazing, and then you can easily check out and buy products. So with that, let's kind of just get started. I'm going to kind of jump into the code, follow along in the actual tutorial, and yeah, let's kind of build something amazing. So to get started, I have been creating files to kind of help you initialize and understand how to get started with the Stripe payment system. So for the Stripe payment system, I created a easy, simple file to kind of show you if you got it connected correctly or not. So I also included this .env example where you're going to provide a key, which is going to be your Stripe API key. You could find that by going to the Stripe website, and then you could just copy your API key associated with your Sandbox account. So the way that Stripe works is there's going to be a Sandbox account, and then there's a production environment. So you can run all these tests in a sandbox mode, which doesn't actually accumulate sales, like it will reflect like it is, but you are not actually using credit cards. It's not taking in real information. It's just for you to make sure that as you are developing and programming, everything is, complete and you have everything working. So just as an initial introduction, I kind of want to talk about this script. So one thing that we're going to need is we're going to be working with .env. So you're going to want to pip install .env. We're also going to be working with the OS, which is the operating system, and then we're going to be working with Stripe. And we can install Stripe. I could just go over here. I will pull up something different. So if you look up Stripe Python SDK, you'll get brought up to this GitHub, and this is what I am using. So you can pip install Stripe, and you can work from this as a baseline to actually provide Stripe payment system functionality within your application. So with all of that set up, okay. First thing, after we have the environment, we're going to need to basically fetch that environment variable. So we basically declare a variable via the stripe.api key, and we're going to get the operating system environ, which is going to be used to basically look for the env, and it's going to look for that Stripe secret key, and it will look like this. It's going to be a .env file. You're going to want to do that, not the .env example, but this is just to kind of keep everything secure on my end. So with that, very simple. We just start a print statement saying that this is the API key. If not an API key, then just print off something went wrong so that you can understand that it's not able to read it. So you know that the issue has to be something with the .env. Something isn't installed correctly. You don't have load .env at the top. Something is going awry. But if you copy this code verbatim, and if you basically bring in that environment variable from the Stripe website, you should be all set. So whenever you run this, I'll run this real quick for you. We could see that, okay, it found the API key. It gives us the API key, and then it says it was connected successfully, and it found a product. So basically, within this, okay, after the if statement, so it was able to find something, so it's not going to hit this. It goes to the else statement. So within the else statement, it looks for the products. And within the products, it's looking for the stripe.products list, and you could change the number. So I could do 5, for example, and it will fetch 5 products. So if I run this again, it will tell me that it found 5 products. So this is as basic as you can get for an initial setup. So now let's kind of go a little bit further, and we'll build this out to kind of give you a script that gives more insight into, I guess, the connection and I guess some of the endpoints that you can kind of hit on. So we're using all the same imports, os, stripe, .env. So we're going to load .env at the top. Then we're going to kind of just create spacer. Then we are going to grab that API key as a variable. So if there's not an API key, then print out an error message so that you know something went awry. Then it's going to start checks. So it's going to basically say that you're in a development mode. And if the API key starts with live, then it's going to tell you that you are working with a live API key, which means that it's not in the sandbox mode, but you're working in production. Okay, so then we are going to basically add that API key to stripe.api key, which gives Stripe access to it. Then we are going to use a try and accept. So for the try, we're going to look for the account and we're going to retrieve. So it's going to say that it's successful at connecting to Stripe, account email associated with the Stripe account ID, the country, and then the default currency that you are using. Okay? And it's basically just hitting on the Stripe account retrieve, and then you are basically using that variable .email, .id, .default currency to kind of get more insight into the account. Okay. Now, test live products. Okay. So for the Stripe product list, it's similar to the other example. We can limit it to a number, but basically initially you're probably going to have 0 created. So you're going to want to go into the Stripe website and dashboard, and you're going to want to create some products so that it can actually see that there are products associated with the shop that you're trying to create. So create some test products within the Stripe website. Okay, and then we are going to basically cycle through the product data, and we're going to get the name and the product ID of the products that we have that are in the top or the first 3. Then you might not have any customers yet, but as we go about building this out, you will be a customer in at least the sandbox mode. So you'll start to see, customer information start to come in. But this is going to basically pull the top 3 customers, and then we're going to use that as a basis to just show how you can hit the customer endpoint. And it's similar to hitting the product endpoint. As you can see, these look very similar. You're just passing through customer list and then the number of customers that you're trying to get insight into. So testing payment intent API. This is going to be the payment intent, which shows customers that have basically made a payment and they're intending to make a payment. This is going to be the ones that are showing their orders, for example. And then basically it's going to say that all tests pass, and then if anything goes awry, then we have exceptions to kind of indicate what went wrong. So this is good error management. So with that, we will run this and we will show what you actually get. So if I pull this up, you can see that we are in a test mode. It successfully pulls my Stripe account, and then the product IDs, it shows the first 3 products that I have in the account. And then it says that it found 3 customers, and then there you go. So everything passed, and this is a better test that you could run to kind of start working with the Stripe API. So another thing that I wanted to show you is in this video, I have the Stripe cheat sheet that is very useful to give you context as to like ways to quickly work within Stripe. This kind of tells you like a quick setup, products and pricing, how to kind of get that. This shows you how to create a product, a one-time payment, or a subscription payment. You can basically run these endpoints to create new products. So you can create a product dashboard where you don't necessarily need to go through the Stripe dashboard to create products, but you could build something internally, and I'll show that in a minute on how I was able to do that for a restaurant. But very powerful, and this is why I really love the Stripe API. So this is for customers. This will allow you to create a customer dynamically, and then you can modify the customer plan, for example. So if it's a subscription-based service that you are providing for your SaaS, then you can have like a premium plan. And then if there is a customer already within your dashboard, then you can move them into the premium plan, and then you can allow them to have specific features that are only unlocked via being a subscriber to whatever subscription that you created. So this is payment gateway. There are 2 different ways of handling the payment gateway. There is an intent. This is for custom flow. If you want to really have full control over your payment system, you could build this out further, but you can kind of get an idea of how this works. So amount 2,000 equates to $20. You define the currency and then the customer ID. What I like more is I use this checkout session, which basically once they click on it, it triggers this, and then it diverts them to a Stripe payment system page. And then once they finish their payment, then they get brought back to the application. So you can define a payment method of card or whatever options are available within the Stripe API. And then you could define what line items, so what are they buying, and you could dynamically put that in as you are building out the checkout page. And then you have the mode, payment, success URL, where should they get directed to after they have successfully made a purchase, and then if they cancel mid-purchase, where should they get directed to. So these are two important endpoints that you need to also define. So this is kind of some more insight into subscriptions. This is how you can create a subscription, similar to creating a product, but you can create a subscription dynamically. You can cancel a subscription, and then you can update a subscription. So this is how you can kind of go about doing that. So I kind of wanted to also give you a base understanding of how to like paginate and list data. So this is Python code, which will allow you to get insight into payment intents and then latest and recent payments. So this is going to kind of filter that and to create something that you can kind of use. So a webhook, this is going to be useful for creating a function which is going to basically handle if a payment was successful or if it wasn't. Then this function will activate based on the request, and then you will read the payload request body, and then it will basically run through this and kind of help give you a starting point to set up that payment system. Now, error handling, these are kind of some of the key things that I would look at for API, connection error, Stripe error. Like, these are all different catches that you could provide within a function or within a callback that could be useful in helping you understand if a card was declined or if there was too many requests made or invalid parameters, authentication failed, like those type of key metrics. Now, there are test cards which are available within the sandbox mode. These are right here. So if you want a successful card, then it's just going to be the number 42424242 all the way down. And then you could basically use that in a sandbox mode to create a payment, and it will go through and it will reflect like it was a successful payment so that you have more information to work with as you kind of build this out. If you want to decline, you could use this number. Insufficient funds, you could use this one. If it expired. So this just provides you different catches for different things that might happen in the real world with people that are using credit cards, so that you can make sure that the successful payments go through and proper error handling or basically redirection happens if it is declined, insufficient funds, or if there's something wrong with their card. So this is a Plotly quick chart, which is going to be using Pandas data frame to kind of work within Stripe to convert payments to data frame. And then it's going to give you the daily revenue in a chart that you can kind of get an understanding through a graph of how, you know, the revenue is performing over time within the shop that you are building out. Lastly, I have the skeleton app, which is going to be based a little bit on that, but this is kind of just a very simplistic, bare bones, how do you get Dash running in an application and how do you configure it in the most simple form possible to start kind of working with the Stripe API, but this isn't fully integrated. This is just very, very simple, but we're going to build out something together. So, custom patterns, this is going to be conversion metrics, safe metadata access, so how to kind of fetch metadata on products, check payment status, and then format the currency. And then I also provided these reminders to kind of help give you some insight. So all of this is just the introduction to what is going to be an amazing tutorial that will allow you to monetize your work and to become a owner of a SaaS product, which will allow you to scale your business, to be able to offer a service. It could really go in any direction that you would, choose. So with that, I hope that this was interesting, and I hope that you're excited to kind of learn more. So thanks for watching. Check out the other files, and I will see you guys in the next one.